Hey everybody, it's Ms. Corneliussen. Today we're going to talk about how I use math every day in my everyday life. And one of the ways I do that is when I bake. I absolutely love to bake. It's one of my favorite things to do. And when I bake, I use fractions, I use measurement, and I use estimating. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to make some rolls for Christmas dinner. And what the recipe tells me to do first is to take the dough that I made last night and put it in an 8-inch circle. This is that fun part. This is where you get to hit it. But I need to figure out what an 8-inch circle is going to be in. And I don't have a ruler. I don't keep a ruler in my kitchen. What I do is I use estimating to kind of see, well, first of all, is this a circle? And then second of all, is it about 8 inches? So I have a good idea by now what 8 inches looks like. And if I want to help myself figure that out, I use something that I know is already 8 inches. So this recipe is from a magazine, and I know that the dimensions of the magazine are 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to, in a minute, use the magazine to help me figure out if the diameter of my circle that I'm trying to make is 8 inches. So I'm going to take the magazine. So it's about 8 inches this way. It's not a true circle because it's not 8 inches the other way. I need to flatten it out that way a little bit more. I'm going to look again. So I needed a little bit more. And again, it's not going to be perfect. Estimating in life is about finding the closest to make it reasonable, to make it make sense. And this is not going to be a perfect circle, but it's going to be close. It's going to be about a circle. So I use my magazine. I have about 8 inches this way. I have a little less the other way, but it's going to be okay. It doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, so we have our about 8-inch circle now. What the recipe tells me to do next is to cut it into quarters. So I know that quarters means I need to cut it into fourths or 4 pieces. So that's what I'm going to do next. Then after that, I'm actually going to need to cut those fourths into other fourths. So I'm going to have to figure out how many rolls that's going to give me. Okay, so I'm now going to cut it into quarters, and this is my whole. This is my complete amount of dough, and I'm now going to cut it into fourths or quarters. And I know that it's 8 inches, so each one should be about 2. And I also know that my thumb is about 2 inches. Again, it's not perfect. I'm just going to estimate to kind of help me figure out where I should make my cuts so that they're as equal as possible. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's a little bit smaller. Maybe I'll make my final cuts a little bit closer together so that that one's more even. When you're baking, you want all of your pieces to be as even as possible, because if one is bigger, then it's going to need longer to bake, and then your smaller ones are going to burn. So it's really important to get your fractions correct. So I cut my whole is now in fourths. I still have the same amount of dough that I had before. It's just in a different amount of pieces. They're smaller than my one big piece was, but they're roughly equal. They're about equal. And I'm gonna now cut these into fourths, and that's gonna tell me how many actual rolls that I'm gonna make, because each fourth is gonna be a roll. And again, I'm kind of estimating, I'm not getting it perfect, to cut them. So I have, so 1/4 created 4 pieces when I cut it into fourths. I'm adding my 1/4 plus 1/4. That's gonna give, or 4/4 plus 4/4. It's gonna give me 8/8. And I'm gonna add another 4/4 to that. It's gonna give me 12/12. And I'm gonna add another 4/4. I didn't make this one as perfect. These pieces are going to be smaller. So you don't use perfect fractions in baking, because perfect fractions are always equal. They're always the same. So I have 4/4, 4/4, 4/4, and I have 16. So I'm going to have 16 rolls. What I have to do next is I, again, have to use estimating to figure out how long I'm going to make the roll dough. So it says to roll the dough into an 8-inch rope. And again, I don't carry around a ruler in my kitchen. I have to kind of figure out what I know about inches to see if it's right. And again, I can use my magazine as a benchmark. We call that a benchmark to help me. Here's my magazine. Okay, so it's about 8 inches. Now I can use this one to kind of help me figure out. The rest of them. I'll tell you, this kind of gets old really fast, and just like all of you try and figure out, well, how much more of an assignment do I have to do? I'm kind of thinking, well, how many more of these that I have to do? So I have 3 out of my 16 done, so 3/16, part of my whole. And I had a total of 16 to start with, so how many do I have left? Okay, so I'm still working on rolling them. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I know that 8 plus 8 is 16. So together, 2/8 makes 16. That means I'm halfway done. So half of 16 is 8. So I have 8 of these and 8 left to do. Okay, so now I'm ready to put them in the pan. And I put them in a muffin pan because they're rolls. And I have 16 pieces of dough. And with my muffin pans, I have 2 of these. Each one has 12, so together that makes 24. So I need to figure out what fraction of my muffin pans I'm going to use. So I have 16 of these. That's how many I have. 24 is what I'm talking about. So 16 over 24, that simplifies. Let's see, they both have are a multiple of 8. So that simplifies to 2/3. So putting my pan on, I need to put it on 2/3 of my muffin pans. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put them in the muffin pans. These are swirly rolls. They're actually really hard to do and they usually end up looking a little funky, but they taste good, so it works. And again, I have parts of a whole. So I'm kind of thinking about, well, I have 2 out of my 24 done. 2 out of 24, that's not a whole lot. 3 out of 24. Four out of 24. So 4 out of 24, that could simplify because they both have the same similar multiple. That could simplify to 1/6. I have 6 out of 24. I'm now at 1/4, getting closer. 6 out of 24 sounds a lot better. I only really have 16 of them, so I'm not even putting them in all 24. I'm putting them in 2/3 of it. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 16, so I'm halfway done. All right, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have 3 in each row, so my multiplication tells me I have 12. And I have 3 more, so that gives me 15, so I have this one little 16th left over to put in here all by itself. So I have 16 out of 24 of my muffin pan filled. So how much is left over? I have 16 out of 24. What fraction of the muffin pan is still empty? If you haven't done this on your whiteboard, please do it along with me. I know that I have 24 spaces. I'm talking about 24 spaces out of a total of 24. So that's 24 over 24, 24 out of 24. And I'm gonna take away the 16 that I've already used. So that's 16 out of 24. I'm gonna use my flour instead of the whiteboard. Another fun thing about baking. So 24 minus 16, I'm gonna do the numerators first, is gonna give me 8. 24 and 24, that's the same denominator, so it's gonna stay the same. So I have 8 out of 24. I know that 8 and 24 have a common multiple, which is 8. If I simplify, if I divide both 8 and 24 by 8, I get 1/3. So 1/3 of my baking pan is left over. So I need to let the rolls rise for 45 minutes. It's currently 1:05 p.m. What time will it be when they are finished and ready to put in the oven? Okay, so it is 1:50, and that is 45 minutes after 1:05. So if you got 1:50, you were correct. Good job. The rolls are finished rising, so I am going to put them in, and we'll see how they turn out. So we're gonna put them into the oven, and we're gonna set the timer. It says 10 to 15 minutes, so I'm gonna do about 11 minutes. They're done. I changed for my holiday party. I'm ready to go. And so are they. So I warned you, they look a little funny, but they taste really good.